Welcome back to Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Season 3 is here and we're excited to dive into the core of communication, relationships, and leadership.
We're your hosts, Bella and Lee, a husband and wife duo with a successful business helping couples and organizations get it together to play a bigger game and elevate their relationships and performance.
We believe in keeping it real, so each week we'll bring you incredible guests, entrepreneurs sharing their authentic experiences, along with episodes featuring just the two of us tackling the tough topics.
So, if you're ready to enhance your connections and sharpen your leadership skills, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Okay, hello. Welcome to another episode of Let's Not Sugarcoat It. Today we're going to be talking about just some tools and things that we have not just learned, but I think relearn as we continue to work on business, relationship, ourselves.
Yes.
As well as a bit of a recap on some conversations that we've had over the last little while. Because it's been a minute since it's just been you and I talking.
Yeah. And I think it's so important to stay in the communication and the conversation, because we tend to, learn things, pick up things. You listen to a podcast, you take a course, you go to an event, and then you're rah, I got all these tools. And then if you don't use them, you lose them. So having that, constant reoccurring conversation, staying in that is going to create new habits and new neural pathways. Because, motivation is only good if you're able to motivate yourself every single time. Can't be an external. It's those atomic habits. It's building that muscle of repetition and continuously, evolving and using those tools that you collect along the way.
Yeah, motivation, because it's a feeling, it's unreliable.
Yeah.
And it's unreliable because it's fleeting. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. And so, discipline, intention, it's a word we've been using a lot lately, is very important, because those things stacked on each other, when you're consistent with discipline and intention, motivation becomes, more often, right? It's kind of like the boost that you get in your days. And I was just thinking, when you're talking about using the tools, I was thinking of the word transformation and how I think a butterfly is kind of a universal metaphor, symbol, and analogy for transformation. But the thing is, there's a difference between those aha moments and insights and transformation.
Yeah.
So you read something, you attend a workshop, you listen to something, and it's that aha moment. You learn a tool, you learn a new mindset, but it's not really a transformation until you apply it.
Yeah.
Until you turn it into action.
Yeah.
So, the butterfly, when it's a caterpillar and it goes into its cocoon and it transforms into a butterfly, I think it would be completely different if, when it came out of the cocoon, it's got these beautiful wings now, but it still crawls.
Yeah.
Never flies. And that's kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Is the difference of, getting the wings, being told now you can fly. If you use the wings, you can fly, but if you never try it for yourself, you'll always just be crawling, no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, this kind of aligns with what we're doing right now. We decided, actually, you decided, I just jumped on the ship, to go 90 days without drinking.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of, dry January, yes, summer has always been tough in the Okanagan for us because, friends, family, we do live in a beautiful wine country. But it was something to do with not just transforming the alcohol and new habits, but, we were doing a bit of an experiment. How we're going to feel and how we're going to look. And even though sometimes...
As well as how we're going to think.
And how we're going to think. That's right. Talking about motivation, I am not motivated to get up every single morning with you, since you changed the time again, 5 in the morning, 5:30, to hit the gym. But as we've been traveling as a family together, we decided, okay, this is going to be our new habit. This is going to be our new experiment and let's see how far we can go and where this journey will take us. But if we didn't take those actions, if we didn't take those steps, the motivation, first 3 days would be like, yes, let's do it. And then we'd fall off the boat. It's been 21 days now.
22.
22 days.
So we're into the fourth week now.
Fourth week. And let me tell you, I feel better. I look better. I think more clearly. I don't have head fog. Sleeping has been phenomenal. It's just been really focusing on the goals that we have set and the intentions we've put in. Not so much, we motivate each other here and there, but for the most part, it's that vision and mission and that kind of a segue into what we wanted to talk about as well today.
Yeah. And it is also, like you just said, so tied to what we want for our lives and what we're building, not just for long-term health. This isn't a, sobriety journey, but it's very much about if we're really serious about achieving what we want, then it all comes down to what habits do we need to have. And let's do a really hard restart. Let's not wait till a beginning of the year, like a January, right, where everyone jumps on that bandwagon. Let's do it now. And let's not do it for 30 days. Let's do it for 90. I have a friend that told me he's really excited about this journey and said, man, like 90 days is going to be great. He goes, wait till you hit just 60. The way that you think and process information, he's like, is just going to be next level.
Yeah.
And so, this is just part of choosing something in our life that, because of where we live and events, there's a lot of things that, alcohol is a part of.
Yeah.
And so let's do something that is kind of out of the box, right, for us in a lot of ways. And it's just been nothing but great things.
Yeah. And then going back to the setting of New Year's resolutions, I believe this, okay? And this is just my theory. This is what I implement. Winter is not for new beginnings. Winter is for rest. It's for reaping the rewards of the year. Spring is when life begins. Spring is when you awaken your body, your senses. The days get longer. You just feel a lot more alive when spring comes. And that's when I set my intentions. That's when I start my productive year. It's in that cycle. When it comes to winter, I want to rest. I don't want to January. Like literally we just finished we completed a whole year of whatever we were doing. And now I'm supposed to start again and force myself to, which nothing against anybody who wants to do that. There's seasons in our life, and not just our life, but in our years, So I do recommend dropping the New Year's resolution, digest, and then when spring comes and you feel that energetic pull to create, to feel alive and move through those projects, that's when you go. And that's really for more of the entrepreneurs, and because, businesses, they have their fiscal year starts and whatever, but that's when the planning starts.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to build off what you're saying, I believe to do it right, if there was such a thing, is you should be doing it at least every 3 months. Is every 3 months the process you go through in January to create a New Year's resolution of the things that you want to do better, the things you want to change. You should be building off that and doing that exact same process every 3 months. Because an important part of, we were just having this conversation just a few days ago, yesterday. I don't know, they all meld together now. But when you set a vision for your future, when you really dream big, a byproduct of that is creating a gap between where you want to be and the reality of where you are. And if you're really dreaming, you should start to feel, yes, excited, but but also a little like uncomfortable. That could show up in some tension, resistance, whatever it is, because you start to realize that maybe you're a lot further away from where you want to be. And in order to get on the path, you really need to focus on, okay, be real with where I'm at, which means taking a look at that feedback, taking a look at what are my habits, right? What are my behaviors? What are my patterns? And are they in service of where I want to be? And chances are there's a very high percentage that I'm not going to say most or half, but there's going to be habits that you have that are not in service of you achieving your dream. Because if they were, you probably would have already achieved that dream.
Yeah.
And so you need to start shaking things up and changing things. And if you're only taking a look back every 12 months, you're going to miss not just very important data, because you're going to forget, because our subconscious has a way of lying to us, tricking us into thinking that we're doing better than what we actually are. And so we get complacent. So we're going to miss those important data points that we won't capture if we're doing it every 3 months at a maximum distance. Should be doing it more often. But we're also going to miss those opportunities to pivot. Right? Because we're not going to execute perfectly every time. We are going to catch ourselves being complacent. And so it allows us to like pick up that intention again, right? And build some momentum.
And when things are too far out, we tend to procrastinate as well, right? So if you said, okay, every 3 months, I'm going to check in and see what my progress is, what tools I've used to implement to change my habits, to change my business, to change my relationship, but you wait till a year, like you said, you're going to miss all these things, because a lot of people are like, oh, I have so much time. How many times have we done something? It's like, talk about university, even high school. You have an assignment due. I bet majority of the people, there's only a few, I know in my classes back in the day, there was only a few who were the keeners and got their work done ahead of time. Majority of us were scrambling to get the papers finished last minute. You're crammed, even studying, you crammed, day before, 2 days before. But if you consistently studied, and it wouldn't be such a shock, right? And then you do miss a lot of the information when you're trying to cram, because there's a lot to absorb at once. So when we're setting these goals, intentions, visions, missions for our life, it is very important to check in. We do it weekly, Sundays, where we just kind of check, hey, what's working, what's not working? Can I help you with anything? How can I show up for you? And so on and so forth. And then every 3 months, have we reached our goal? If not, how come? And those are the conversations that can, especially in a partnership,
where you're also partners in life.
Yes. Can come across these difficult conversations. Because looking at where we are may not be where we wanted to be at this particular moment in our life. And we sometimes go on the defensive. Well, I had this and this and that. Instead of just saying, okay, this is what's so. So now how do we move forward? However, we're not really taught that communication style. It's like, okay, well, it is okay for this moment to be this moment. And it's okay where we are now, because now we're taking action to change. So then we propel ourselves forward and get back on track.
Yes.
Versus that defense. Because that's another thing we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So beautifully said, because we have a tendency to really personalize the things that we say we're going to do. And when we look back and almost always find some things that we didn't actually accomplish, and we know it has something to do with us, we associate that a little bit with our identity in a way. And so it's really hard to sit there and really hold yourself accountable. And then when you're also sitting there with the person that's your business partner as well as your partner in life, it becomes even especially at the beginning, more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more vulnerability there. Because this person knows everything about you. And that's where those conversations are so powerful if you enter them with intention. Because without intention, and when I say intention, I think it's important to say that it requires a level of awareness, right? That's what we're saying about intention, is that you're going into that conversation with an intended outcome of that. Like, there's a purpose, there's an intended outcome, and you're being very conscious about what's going on. And because if you don't, what'll happen is your subconscious will take over, and there'll be a part in that conversation where all of a sudden, because you feel uncomfortable, you're feeling some tension, there's a natural desire to want to defend yourself. And when you have that emotion of defending yourself, it will almost always, without that intention, show up in some form of blame game or defending yourself, like you said, saying, well, you know, I was doing this thing or that thing, right? Like,
yeah. And it's going to skew the results at the end, because we're not sitting in reality. We're sitting in making ourselves look good in front of the other person versus saying, okay, there's been mistakes that have been made, and mistakes are okay to make as long as they don't repeat themselves over and over again.
That's right.
Then there's a problem. But as you know, you're starting in business or starting in life as a couple, mistakes are going to happen. But it's so important to come to the table and sit down and say, okay, this is the mistake. I admit I procrastinated. I admit I got distracted. I admit there was something there for me that prevented me from taking those steps, and I didn't look at it, and I didn't tell you about it because it made me feel a certain way. That's where that transformation comes. That's when the change happens. That's where growth happens. That's when we propel, when we sit in the truth and are able to tell our partners and ourselves that it is okay. And now I'm seeking out why and how I can change so that I can move forward, and we can move forward collectively in a partnership and in a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And a part of that process is allowing yourself to drop the armor, drop your guard, embrace vulnerability by leaning into that discomfort. And it might also be like saying, hey, I am really feeling uncomfortable about this conversation because I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. I didn't say what I was going to do. And it's really making me feel like I need to, defend myself or come up with excuses. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I want to be able to embrace this process and move through it. But by saying those things, you kind of set the stage for what so. And I think it's important to just talk about what so for a quick second, because it's a very powerful statement, because as human beings, we are meaning-making machines.
Yeah.
And so we're constantly trying to make meaning of every thought, everything, every feeling. And what so is, it strips all of that away, and it's just what so. So in this example, what so is, we set a goal and we didn't meet it. That's just what so. Adding in the way I feel wrong, I don't feel enough, or I feel judged, right? That's all meaning making that's happening.
Yeah.
But what so strips all that away, and it's just...
That's what it is.
It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And so the what so conversation is taking a look at the facts, the data, whatever it is, and then what so conversation is, okay, if we were to do the same thing again, what do we change?
Yeah.
What do we do different?
Yeah.
How do I change my behavior? How do you change? How do we support each other differently to make sure that we achieve? That's the what so piece, which is a very powerful, but it requires that intention. And it requires emotional intelligence. Yes.
100%, because we are wired to defend, to protect ourselves. But disconnecting those emotions, those feelings from that what's so is so important. And knowing and trusting your partner is also very important, that if I come with just what's so conversation, I know my partner understands that there's a breakdown and we need that breakthrough to move forward.
Yeah.
Because there's something in our way that's preventing either us collectively or me individually or you individually to move forward. And that's so important to, even in business, you know, in corporations, when we work with people, we sit down, it's like, what is so? What is happening in your team environment?
Yeah.
Without the extras.
Yeah, before we say it's this result, this finding, the state of your culture, before we say this is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong, it's just what's so. Then we decide afterwards, intentionally, what does this mean? But before that, it's just what's so. And I want to go back because you just said, it's like you got to practice these things. Again, it's like having wings and learning to fly, getting them the mindset, the tool. It means you still need to practice it. And so I want to just say that when one of us says, hey, this is where my head's at right now in this conversation, it's all also an invitation to give me a little space and grace, right? Because I want to have a what's so conversation, but this is also how I'm feeling right now. So that this way you also don't end up on the defense if something comes out, right? And then you can support me that way and vice versa.
Okay. What else did you want to talk about?
We were talking about, so a lot of this conversation is around vision, of course, right? Achieving our goals. Really important question that has really provided some of this like clarity to what you need to do to change your habits is when you come up with who you want to be in the future, because that's usually what our visions are, right, based off of, you gotta ask yourself, honestly, who am I today? And take a look at what are my habits? Who do I hang out with? Where am I spending my time? Who am I spending my time with? And start really asking yourself, are these things contributing to who I want to be? And what do I want to accomplish? And this is not a process that takes minutes or hours. It is a process that at a minimum takes weeks, especially for the first time around, because that's what it did for us is when we first sat down and decided we really need to get clarity on what I want, just me, having a what so conversation with myself, right? Without the constraints and limitations of being a father, being a husband, being a son, all these things, and you doing the same. It wasn't a quick process. No. And in doing that, there are things that I was, I really like envisioned something and it's like, it lights me up. But then as quickly as it lights me up, it's like, I don't know. That seems kind of scary to accomplish that. And then there's these things like, well, who am I to, achieve, this business status, to be for us to achieve a globally renowned business, or who am I to speak on stages of tens of thousands of people in the audience, right? Like all these things. And that's when you start to lie to yourself around your dream and you kind of lessen your dream. You dream a little smaller, you play a little smaller to close the gap. So you start to feel a little bit more comfortable, right? There's a little bit less tension.
And you start to lying to yourself about your dream then. Oh, no, I don't want that. I don't need that.
Right.
And then we start resenting those who achieve our dreams, right? And then you blame them and you poke holes in their life and their reality because they were able to have that power to take those actions. Because who are we as people? It's whoever we say us to be.
That's right.
Because we have the power to achieve anything, but we limit ourselves in those dreams and those goals because you only achieve as much as you think you're enough to do so.
That's right. And that's why you need to take some time. Because a part of the clarity comes out of sitting in that tension, sitting in that resistance you're feeling when you had that thought of, I could do this.
Yeah.
I can achieve this. I want that. And I want to be this person. And you need to sit in and explore, well, why? Yeah. Why do I feel like I can't achieve that? Or why do I feel the need to have to lessen my dream? What would it cost me to achieve that? And this is really...
the cost is not just like, we're not talking about cost monetary value.
No.
We're talking about ego.
That's right.
And identity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
What it's going to cost me to shed who I believe myself to be.
Yeah.
And who I want or dare to be.
I think like a lot of us spent a lot of time sometimes asking the question, what's at risk if I don't do the thing? What's at risk if I don't build the business? What's at risk if I, don't put myself out there? And a lot of the times I think our answers are, oh, well, I'm not going to live into my potential. Or, for some people be like, well, I'm not going to be able to retire when I want to, whatever it might be. And all of those things are very external. Where a more powerful question for us has been, what's at risk if I do that thing? Right? Because then comes into play identity.
Yeah.
Well, if I do put myself out there and I do those things, there's also another thing that's at risk, which is in order for me to start becoming that person I want to be, I need to shed who I have been.
Yeah.
And if I'm not who I have been, then who am I?
Yeah.
And it's both a very scary place as well as a very powerful one.
It's very exciting to actually step into your true essence. When you realize that you are enough, you realize who you truly are and what it is you want, and that you have the courage, no matter what, to take those steps to get you closer to your goal, your dream, to you. Because a lot of us live in a space where we live for others and we show up for others the way we perceive they want us to show up. So when you actually have that moment of clarity, that aha, the glorious aha moment of, holy man, I've been living a lie to myself. It's when I discovered that I can be successful businesswoman and I can have my witchiness side.
Yeah.
My feminine energy, my tuning forks, my breath work, all that stuff. But before, I had an or between those two. I could be this or that. And as I tried to suppress one or the other, because I tried this and that, but I didn't marry the two. There was always this void. And the older we get, the more this void grows. You can no longer suppress it. It comes screaming at you. That's why they call it a midlife awakening. Some people may call it midlife crisis.
Depends on how you approach it. Yep.
But this midlife awakening going is like, okay, I have lived this life that wasn't truly mine. And that I can be this and that. And anything else I want to add on to that.
Yeah.
there's so much more power and energy in moving forward with your intention, your goals, and your dreams.
Because it's okay to also change your dreams.
Yes.
And because your experiences in life change.
Yes.
And we talk often, we actually have a picture on our wall that is of a big door at the end of a long hallway with these really long pillars that go up to the ceiling. And so if you visualize looking down, that's what you would see, is just ceiling that seems like it goes forever. The walls are just these pillars, can't see anything in between them, and this door at the end. And so that's your vision. That's your dream. That's where you're headed. And unless you start moving towards that dream, you would never know that in between those pillars are other doors.
Yeah.
And it's okay to say no to those doors. But maybe you come across a door that is something that is more appealing. It becomes a new dream, a new vision that is more enrolling for yourself than the original one that you had. And it's okay to change, because if you didn't go after that first dream, you would never have found this new, better one. And that's why it's also so important to not do a recap of what you want every 12 months.
Yes.
To do it more often, because our experiences change.
Opportunities come up.
That's right.
That's the thing. Is like when you know where you're going, your vision, does it still align? You know, let's say you're going and you set your goal for 12 months to be here, but suddenly you're taking those steps and you pop up to this curve ball place. And you're like, wow, do I take this ball? Because it's so amazing. It still aligns with our vision, our mission, our dreams. It's just going to take us a little bit to this side. And then you, with clarity, can say yes or no.
Yeah.
And then you continue going. But if you're just putzing along, there'll be lots of different, forks in the road, curveballs, all this stuff. And you'll be trying to catch and take every single way just to get you there.
Yeah.
But where is there? If you don't have clarity, if you don't have that vision, if you don't have that mission, you don't have your core values, you don't have a plan. Work the plan.
Yeah.
You'll never know where you're going to... You'll be like flopping in the water without a compass, going, where am I going?
Yeah.
I can float, I can swim, but which direction am I going?
And have intention, embrace the suck. Sit in that resistance and the tension that you're feeling along the way.
Yeah.
Resist the urge to, pull the cord for the parachute to come out to bring you down to a safe landing and stay in there.
I want that seat on that airplane. But it is so important that, in life, and I'm going to wrap it into a bit of like marriage, because we had some conversations at a networking event. And, when we get married, first is a relationship. There's so many dreams. You dream together and so many things to achieve. You get together, you start dating, then comes marriage, then babies, house somewhere in between, your career. And then you come up for air and you're like, where am I? Right? At some point, everything settles. As relationships, we settle, we get complacent, and we stop dreaming.
Yeah. Maintenance mode kicks in. We start off, I guess you can say, like playing to win.
Yeah.
And I just thinking when you were saying, when you start off in a relationship, a lot of your vision is on achieving things, collecting things, whether it's a salary, a home, a car, vacations, all of those things. Do our visions tie into like who we want to be?
Yeah.
And really focus on our purpose. And so we go from playing to win to achieve these things. And I think a lot of us get to a place where all of a sudden we get them and then we stop playing to win and we start playing not to lose.
Yeah.
Right? Which is all about that maintaining.
Yes.
Holding on tight, not letting anything go. And we forget that, or we don't realize that forgetting to let go, that not wanting to let go, is also holding on to who we've become. And we associate our success, our external success, what people think of us on the outside looking in. We've accomplished these things, acquired these things. To move to the next level means you need to shed who you've been to become someone else, that person, to move to the next level. And you can't do that when you're holding on too tightly and you're playing not to lose.
Yes. And that's why there's just so much tension between couples around our age, around, the 40s to 50s, lots of divorce statistically, because we stop dreaming. Either one person is awakening and the other one is still playing to maintain. Growing together no longer looks parallel. It's either one is ahead or is veering left or right.
Yeah.
So it is so important to be constantly checking in, because as people we change. Our needs change. Our visions change. Life happens. Things change.
Yeah.
Constantly change. And if we are not comfortable with change, we're going to suffer.
Yeah. Well, and we're designed, our brains are geared to be uncomfortable with change. And so it's always knowing that without that intention, without those habits that force you to lean into discomfort by practicing these tools, your brain is working against you most of the time. It's going to force you to be comfortable. It's going to trick you into thinking that you should dream smaller. And it's going to have you avoid those critical conversations that, you need to be having, not on when you're in the 40s and having that midlife awakening, but much earlier, and keep them going, because like you said, people change. And so you're not always the same person with the same thoughts and the same aspirations when you're in year 2 versus year 8 versus year 20. And you won't know unless you're always having these conversations around what I want, not around what I don't want, but what I want.
And let's throw in a bit of a perimenopausal thing. Okay, women in their 40s, they go through a lot of changes, and we are looking to our partners to understand that it's not always about them. We don't even know what sometimes is going on.
Yeah, and I think that's great, because it's not, I think sometimes we go back to now the emotional intelligence, conversation is, there are couples out there that struggle because women are going through this change. They don't fully understand it.
Yeah.
But they know enough that it's affecting them. And so women act differently than what the men are used to. And then the response, very reactive, defensive response is, well, I'm going through perimenopause, right? And, you should learn about it. But I think it's an important journey to learn about it together.
Yes.
Right? And that's how that support happens. Instead of it being an excuse and a reason, it's let's learn about this together so we can both support each other, because you don't want to feel that way all the time, right?
Yeah.
And your partner doesn't want you to feel that way all the time. And so we just go back to this. It's always great when you are open about what's going on.
Vulnerability.
Even the vulnerable part where it's like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And I want to figure this out together.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's figure this out together.
So in summary, it's important to dream big.
Big.
And for that dream, those visions, to really be focused on not so much of the material things, but to really be focused on who you would have to be to achieve those things, right? Your growth and development as a human being. And that's going to create some tension, especially if you haven't done it in a long time or ever. And so you need to sit in that tension, sit in that resistance, and explore. And don't allow that default reaction to dream small, play small, lie to yourself about what you want or lie to yourself about where you're at, right? Because there's a tendency to lie that you are further along or doing better than what you actually are.
And, if you are for resolutions in January, take the time with your partner and invite your partner to do this exercise, to do this experiment. You will learn so much about each other. To sit down and write out your vision, your goals, your dreams, your core values. Your core values as a human being, as a family, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And then come together. It's going to take you guys a couple of weeks. It should take more than. Because the most uncomfortable part of that was looking at what I wanted just for me. Because it felt very selfish. It felt like, well, the excuses come in. Well, I can't do this because I'm a mother. I can't do that because I have a family and.
Or what is my partner going to think?
Yes.
About me wanting to achieve this thing.
Yes.
Right? Or wanting to do this or that.
So sit in that discomfort and think of what it is that you want for you, because it's also your life, and your partnership shouldn't be limiting you for living a fulfilled life. What is my purpose? If you're not feeling like you're fulfilled, like you have a purpose, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're using other things as excuses to become who you truly are meant to be.
Yeah.
Then do the exercise as a couple.
Yeah, well, then you share. You get together and you share.
Yeah. So do it what you want for you, what you want for your partnership, and what you want for your family and your business, right? And then you come together to discuss that, and then you see where the overlaps are and where are there things that are not, and how then we have the discussion of how we can support each other.
That's right. Yeah, because the growth and development journey is not the same for everybody.
That's right.
And so let's say you want to do a couples retreat, and that's not really my thing.
Well,
right?
It's gonna be.
I'm not saying it's not, but devil's advocate is that's not my thing. And I want to go on like camping off the grid.
That is not my thing.
No, not either. It's not my thing either, but it's two extremes.
Yes.
And so there's a way to support each other in that, where it's okay, I'm going to go do this thing with you, and we find a way for you to be able to support me or come with me to do like my thing.
Yeah.
Right? And because that's what it means to support each other.
Yeah.
And so once you get that clarity on those things, then it's taking that and not building out your plan over the course of 12 months and saying, okay, in order to achieve this goal, this vision, we need to be here next year. You need to really look at 30, 60, 90 days.
Yeah.
And really build that out. 30, 60, 90 days, get really clear on what you need to accomplish, and then have those reviews.
Yeah.
Because that's that feedback loop where you get to start to look at what am I doing, what am I not doing that's not contributing to getting these goals. Because again, the feedback loop, how our brains work, ABC model. We get our environment triggers us, right? It's an antecedent. It's like people on their cell phones, their mobile phones. Phone buzzes, it rings. That's the trigger. That's an antecedent. Our behavior is automatically triggered to usually pick that up and take a look at it. Doesn't matter if we're in a conversation with somebody or else. And then there's some form of consequence, positive or negative. Usually if it's a positive, like, ooh, right? I got a like on my post, right? That gives me a little dopamine spike. So now it's going to reaffirm that trigger in the future. I'm going to keep doing that. If it's negative, maybe I take a look at it and it's somebody I don't want to hear from. I'm less likely to pick it up. And so we need to look at those 30, 60, 90 days as a way to be able to say, what are new triggers, new ways I need to design my environment, my day-to-day, my new habits, so that when these triggers happen, it moves me towards my goals instead of getting in the way of me achieving my goals. And doing that very intentionally and honestly, and having those conversations with our partner, having what so dialogues.
Okay, so what so is that we are coming to an end. So where you can find us? You can find us on letsnotsugarcoatit.com website. You can find us at thepiccoinstitute.com and follow us on Instagram and
any platform where you listen to your favorite podcast. Find us there.
And if you have any questions, comments, podcast ideas, reach out. We're here. If you need any assistance in communication and leadership development, look us up at thepiccoinstitute.com, and we would love to hear from you. Okay. Until next time. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode and gained valuable insights to elevate your life and business.
If you found value in our conversation, spread the love. Share this episode with family and friends, and let's grow this supportive community together.
And don't forget to like and follow us so we can reach more amazing people just like you.
Until next time, remember, let's not sugarcoat it. Keep it real, raw, and unfiltered.